Hi everybody, welcome back to Sunshine Soap and Candle Company. Today I'm getting ready to restock a big batch of liquid hand wash for my household. This way I have a big batch to portion off into smaller batches to refill my soap containers at my kitchen sink and my bathroom sinks. So I thought you might want to see the process of how I make a bulk liquid hand wash and then how to portion it off for single hand wash container refills. This formula is made for lots of hand washing and it's great for the winter time because it's not going to be too drying. There is not a whole lot of active surfactant matter in this formula, and we're also adding in some really nice refatting agents to make your hands feel very moisturized, smooth, silky, and clean. In this video today, I'm going to be going over my full visual step-by-step process and tutorial of how to put together this bulk batch of liquid hand wash. And if you would like the full written recipe with amounts, percentages, and a full detailed step-by-step written tutorial, please head on over to my Patreon campaign. This will be available at the $5 level and you can access my campaign from the description box below. I'll go ahead and put a link in there for you. If you haven't had a chance to check out my campaign, now is never a better time. We're headed into the new year and it's a great time to perfect a skill you might be working on, learn something new, learn a new hobby. There's hundreds of recipes over there to take advantage of just at the $5 level. We have now a community of over 3,000 makers and there are so many resources for everyone to take advantage of. We've built a great community. It's a great way to connect with me and other makers. There are several tiers besides the $5 tier for you to take a look at, each with their own unique benefits. We offer things like live quarterly classes, live monthly hangouts. We offer monthly gift packages. And we also, upon sign up, you get coupon codes to some of my favorite suppliers. Right when you sign up, you'll get an email coupon code to makesy.com. That's a 10% off that you can use over and over again, as well as a $5 or $10 off coupon to onlinelabels.com, depending on which tier you sign up for, making your sign up really well worth it. In this new year, I really hope that you will take advantage of it. It's the best deal on the internet. For just $5, you can access almost everything I've ever published over on the campaign, and there's just a wealth of information for you to take advantage of. All right, let's make some liquid hand wash. All right, so this formula is super easy to make. It all goes into one big container and you don't have to warm or cook anything. It's a very gentle formula, great for lots of hand washing. This formula is broken up into two phases. It's a water phase and a surfactant phase. Now I'm going to start off by weighing my surfactants first. That way I don't kick up too many bubbles and foam while I'm making this. And so the first surfactant we're going to be pouring off into this container is capryl glucoside. This is a very mild, gentle, and natural surfactant. So this is overall just a really gentle, mild one. This is going to be the bulk of the surfactants in this formula. So the surfactants are responsible for cleansing. They lift the oil and dirt and bacteria from your skin and help it to just rinse off. And they also provide lather and foam. So that's what this is. This is much different than a actual liquid hand soap made from actual oils and potassium hydroxide. That's a totally different type of formula. I have lots of those over on my Patreon campaign as well if you're interested in something like that. So we're going to be pouring off the first surfactant. Next up, we're going to be weighing off our next surfactant. This is called lauramidopropyl betaine. This is a very gentle, again, a very gentle surfactant. So this is what we're going for in this type of formula. Like I said in the intro, this is a formula that's designed for lots of hand washing and it's great for the winter time. What I like about lauramidopropyl betaine is it has a great foam and lather, but it also feels very emollient. And that is a good feeling to have in a hand soap. So when it rinses off, it's feeling moisturized and not dry. So this particular one I like for that reason. So we're going to go ahead and weigh off our lauramidopropyl betaine. If you don't have this one or you don't have access to it, you can also use cocamidopropyl betaine. They're very similar. I just find that the lauramidopropyl betaine is a little bit more emollient feeling. Okay. And then the last surfactant we're going to be adding in is some cocamidopropyl betaine. Again, cocamidopropyl betaine is one of my favorite liquid surfactants. I say that a lot on my videos, but I really like it because it's amphoteric, meaning it can bind with all other types of surfactants perfectly fine, and it's super gentle. You see it in a lot of shampoos, body washes. It's made from coconuts, and it has a relatively low pH and a good foam and lather. And it's gentle, just like the other two that we have used so far. So we're going to go ahead and add this one in. Okay. And that's it for the surfactants. Next up, we're going to be adding in some glycerin. I'm adding in a fair amount of glycerin to this recipe. This is going to help with the, again, emollient feeling of this formula, and it's also a humectant, so it's going to draw moisture from the air to your skin, which again is great for a hand wash that you might be using several times a day. So we're going to go ahead and add in our glycerin. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and give my formula a little bit of a stir to combine the surfactants and the glycerin before we move to the final two ingredients for the bulk phase of this formula. Well, I guess I should say there are 3 more ingredients because we're going to be also adding in the preservative now. Okay, once that is stirred up, we're going to go ahead and add in another emollient ingredient. This is polyquaternium 7. We use this to add moisture and emolliency to body washes, shampoos, and also hand washes, shower gels, conditioners. It's super versatile, very luxurious. It just gives your, you can sub the polyquaternium 7 out for another ingredient, but I will say that you're not going to get the same type of emolliency. This is just a gorgeous product to add to your surfactant-based systems or your surfactant-based formulas. I guess you could use something else like honeyquat, but you're not going to get the exact same overall effect. So we're going to go ahead and add this in. There we go. And then we're going to add in the preservative now. Today we're going to be using some liquid Germal Plus because we will be adding in a lot of water to this formula, and liquid Germal Plus is great for water-based formulas and it's effective. So we're going to go ahead and add in our liquid Germal Plus. And we're going to go ahead and give this formula a bit of a stir again before we add in our distilled water. And that will conclude the bulk phase of this formula. And then next I'm going to show you how to portion a bit off for your soap dispensers and add some fragrance and color. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of rubbing alcohol on here just to kind of get rid of those bubbles before we start pouring in the water. Now you're going to see some bubbles forming as we add the water in, totally normal because the water is going to agitate the surfactants and start to form a little bit of a lather. So just go slow when you're pouring your water phase in. So that's it. Now you have your base liquid hand wash. Super simple, easy ingredients to come by. And I figure over the course of time, buying your materials in bulk and then making a bulk batch will actually save you money on liquid hand wash, especially if you're using containers also that are reusable at your sinks. So we're not buying any more plastics that are disposable. We're just going to give this a really good stir. Make sure that all of our surfactants are combined with those water phase ingredients, and we're going to go slow so we don't kick up too many bubbles. And if you do, you can just kind of give it a good squirt with some rubbing alcohol, and it will, for the most part, help. Okay, so right now, it's just a water-thin formula. This is what you're going to be pouring off from for your individual soap containers, so I'll show you what that looks like now. So I want to make a 500-gram batch to fill up my little soap dispenser that goes to my kitchen sink. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour off what I need. I'm making this so that I can add in my fragrance and my color to individual soap containers. So you're not going to add any thickener or anything to this bulk batch. This is how you're going to store it. You can pour it into, containers like this, old gallon-sized water containers that you might have hanging around after you're done making it, and make sure you label it, and then that way you'll have it stored and ready to go when you're ready to refill your liquid soap dispensers. Okay, perfect. So now I have just what I need to create a small bit of liquid hand wash. So this is what we're going to do. The first thing we're going to do is go ahead and add a tiny bit of color. So I am using some FD&C soap dye blue. This comes from Nature's Garden. Of course, it is water soluble. So I'm first going to add just a tiny bit of blue in here, and this is going to go nicely with the fragrance that I've picked for this. So I'm just going to start with one drop and give it a good stir. And that's actually all I want. I think that's the perfect blue. That is exactly the color that I was going for. So the next thing we're going to do is add in some fragrance. I'm adding in something called Italian lemon and juniper water. This is part of Makesy's Spring Discovery Kit. Stay tuned for a review coming up on 10 of the fragrances that I got from them, but this one just smells so good. It has a really bright top citrusy note, but that juniper water really balances it out and makes it smell. It's got a very nice, like, aquatic bottom note to it. It's just really clean, bright, and beautiful smelling. So we're going to go ahead and add in what we need here for this formula. There we go. I'm going to give that a good stir. Now, the reason we're adding the fragrance oil in before we thicken it is because sometimes fragrance oils or essential oils can thin out a formula like this. So if you thicken it first and then you add in your fragrance, you might end up with a thin formula again. So it's best to add your fragrance oils in before you thicken it. And as you're noticing, gosh, it smells really, really good. I'm very impressed with that fragrance. And I think it's going to come through really nicely in this liquid hand wash formula. Okay. So as you can see, my formula is water thin. It's gone a little bit cloudy because of the fragrance that we just added in. However, I have a feeling it will go clear. So this formula, I haven't used this fragrance oil yet, but I can just kind of tell it's already going clear again. So it's probably not going to be any issue in this formula going back to a completely clear hand wash. However, if it stays a little bit cloudy, you know, that's not a big deal either. It just means you're not going to have a crystal clear formula. Some people care about that, some people don't. But I have a feeling this will go back to being in a clear state. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and add in the thickener. This is the last part of the small batch before we go ahead and pour it into our container. And so I'm going to be using liquid crothix today as my thickener. And the reason I'm using liquid crothix is because it is emollient, like some of the other ingredients we added in here. You could use glucose D. That would be another good one to use. However, I do find if you're trying to make something with higher emolliency, the liquid crothix is the way to go. Sometimes you do have to add in a little bit more of the crothix versus the glucose D, but again, if you're going for that emolliency, then this is the way to go. Add in a little bit at a time. Give it a good stir. And you're going to do that until you achieve your desired thickness. I'm going for kind of like a, I guess like a runny honey type of consistency. I want it to come out of my hand soap pump easily. And I also want it to spread into my hands easily. So be careful not to overdo it on your thickener. Once you get a formula too thick, it's then hard to get it back where you want it. I'll bring you back when we've gotten the right consistency. All right, so we've gotten a really nice consistency here. So what we're going to do is go ahead and pour this into our dispenser, and then I'll give you a little bit of a use demo. We're just going to go ahead and pour this in. There we go. Perfect. And there it is, all bottled up, looking really pretty. And again, I think this is going to go completely clear here in over the course of the next couple hours or so. So I'll show you a finished picture when this is all the way done setting up. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you a little bit of a use demo. All right, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and scrape up what's left out of this container here, so we don't waste any product. I'm just going to go ahead and scrape that out, pour it into my hand. As you can see, it's got a great viscosity. I'm going to go ahead and wet my hand and activate the lather. So right away it has an amazing slip and emolliency, and that is definitely due to all of the emollient ingredients that we added to this formula, and definitely mostly from the polyquaternium 7. Just gives it a gorgeous, gorgeous skin feel. I highly recommend it. It's kicking up a very good lather for hand soap, and it smells amazing. And that's it, everybody. That's how you make a beautiful emollient hand soap, great for lots of hand washing. That's how you make a big bulk batch of it and then portion it off into separate little batches for scenting and coloring. I hope you really liked this video. If you did, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Please leave me some comments and questions below. That really means a lot to me. I love hearing from you. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. All right, everybody. Catch you on the next video. Bye. Keep shining.